Hey guys, we're all screwed, but hey, you can get this fancy shiny new pin for $19.99 plus shipping and handling. So, yeah, we got that. Also today, a lot of bombshell information is coming out right now that has some people calling for jail time for some individuals that they see responsible for the atrocious actions that we are all dealing from the consequences of. And they make a very convincing case, which we're going to be going over in this video, as well as just going over the full confusing matrix of disinformation that keeps changing by the minute and meant to keep you in a continual state of uncertainty and fear. And again, wow, the level of criminality, I mean, it's just... It's mind-boggling, and it should be infuriating. And just jumping right into it, I think one of the biggest constants throughout all of this has been the fact that absolutely no one knows exactly what's going on. All the experts, all the professionals have been wrong more than they have been right. Everything is a complete joke, and I think it is fair to say that we have failed with dealing with a basic threat, and if a real one comes, well, be assured that you need to be responsible for yourself, as we've been saying for a very long time. And the information coming out right now, especially implicating New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, is infuriating and blood-boiling, which again could also explain why New York City has been so heavily hit, showing a national mortality rate of 49 times higher than the national average. But before even just jumping into that story, another important one that needs to be highlighted and is not by mainstream media is, of course, the rise of power, influence, and wealth of individuals like Bill Gates that the mainstream media is fawning over every word he says without any ounce of skepticism. This could be explained by, of course, his vast wealth and influence that is spread around many of the institutions that have largely failed us, whether it's the World Health Organization, the Imperial College, the BBC Media, the CDC, NIH, Johns Hopkins, ID 2020. We are seeing a complicated web of influence that if you dare to question, you will be censored on this platform and, of course, all other social media, large technocratic platforms, while, of course, only adoration of this man is welcome, whose wealth has actually doubled in the past decade, even though this is the same person that promised to give all of his money away. Kind of funny how that works. I promise I'm going to give my money away. Oopsie, I just doubled my entire wealth. What's happening there? Ah, gee whiz. And what happened there is a vast wealth of influence that is only growing and continuing with this crisis, and it deserves to be called out. And of course, many people question his charity organization, which some people criticize as a money laundering organization. And it is also important to note that Bill Gates started the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation after, of course, the U.S. government shut down his monopoly practices. And then shortly after this, we have this charitable organization that, of course, is just singing the praises and repeating everything their, quote, experts are saying without even question, including also, of course, the Imperial College London that has been very wrong on their assessments of what was going to happen, not only with this sickness, but with many previous sicknesses before. And now they have new investment and funding and control of the narrative where if you even dare to speak out against them, you will be censored, just like we have in many different ways throughout the years. And that's why we need to even rely on your help to exist as an independent media organization that used to previously just exist with, of course, monetization on YouTube, but that's been taken away. Subscribers have been taken away. Our viewership has been taken away. And for us to survive, your support is more crucial than ever. And you could very easily do that on wearechange.org/donate, including in ways where you don't even have to spend a dime. I know times are difficult, and if times are difficult for you, check out these alternatives since they may also potentially help you at the same time. If you're loaded and you don't have to worry about that, well, thank you. Your support means the world to us because what YouTube is doing is absolutely egregious, and we need all the help we could get in order to resist them. Even if you're a doctor and you're talking about cheap, readily available drugs that won't make anyone rich, well, YouTube is just going to take you down. While, of course, even just searching for recent articles, like I was just doing for this story, looking for the specific article where Dr. Fauci was even raising skepticism around the vaccine, the results you get are, of course, tightly controlled and catered for an agenda, rather than you finding the actual article that you're looking for, which I'm having a very hard time doing. And just by looking for articles where Dr. Fauci raised skepticism around the vaccine, all I get is, of course, information about how bad other people are for being skeptical of something that the experts are, quote, skeptical of themselves, but you can't even see that yourself. And now they are definitely, quote, increasing their attention on this, calling for, quote, total attention, as of course they will be ratcheting up their operation without even anyone able to raise any skepticism surrounding it. And there should be a lot of it, especially with videos like this coming out.
$1 billion in vaccinations over the last 2 decades. And you figured out the return on investment for that. And it kind of stunned me. Can you walk us through the math?
Over a 20-to-1 return. So if you just look at the economic benefits, that's a pretty strong number compared to anything else.
I think the numbers that you ran through were if you had put that money into an S&P 500 and reinvested the dividends, you'd come up with something like $17 billion, but you think it's $200 billion.
Here, yeah.
So yeah, definitely something in my opinion to be extremely skeptical of, while of course raising your voice against it, while we still have some small semblance of it before it's completely taken away. And again, this censorship is absolutely egregious because we're not censoring just independent media anymore. We're censoring other medical professionals that are citing medical studies from Italy, India, Bahrain, France, Costa Rica, South Korea, China, South Dakota. And because this goes against the mainstream media establishment pro-vaccine message, this is something that, again, you're not able to hear. And this is why we're talking about it now, because someone has to, no matter the consequences. Another person that should be absolutely held accountable for their atrocious, irresponsible, dangerous actions is, of course, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, that according now to the Associated Press's own counting, they have figured out that according to them, 4,300 elderly COVID-19 patients were sent back to nursing homes. And again, the Associated Press had to do their own counting here because the New York State Department of Health decided not to release its own numbers, decided not to be transparent and accountable, and release the full data of exactly how many COVID-19 elderly patients they sent back to nursing homes. The same nursing homes that Governor Andrew Cuomo called feeding grounds for the virus. The same governor whose directive it was to do this. Meanwhile, there were empty, huge field hospitals, U.S. Navy hospital boats, triages all over the city with absolutely zero patients. The city spent $21 million on a tax-funded field hospital that was given to a Texas company in a no-bid contract that no one was in. $21 million wasted. Meanwhile, thousands of elderly patients were sent back to nursing homes, which created a wildfire event, according to many people looking at this, and exacerbated the number of casualties and people that were killed in New York City because of this. And whether you believe this was done because of some kind of conspiracy top down or whether this was done because of incompetence, it doesn't matter. We shouldn't be arguing that. We should be calling for the imprisonment of Andrew Cuomo for pushing this directive, because this man has his fingerprints on accelerating the deadliest outbreak in the nation in New York City. And again, I've been saying here, what's been happening in New York City is extremely strange. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. But when you factor in thousands of elderly people being sent back to nursing homes, it does portray one possibility of what was happening here, and it is gross criminal activity that deserves some accountability, with at least jail time for these individuals. And again, these were the experts. These were the pioneering politicians that everyone put their faith in that has absolutely failed them. And there's no reason to believe them. They keep changing the official story minute by minute, as now the CDC laid out a very poorly worded statement saying that this sickness does not spread easily by touching surfaces or objects, but that it can spread by touching surfaces or objects, spurring, of course, more confusion, as again, as I've been saying from the very beginning, this organization should not be trusted. They're telling you not to wear masks, now they're telling you to wear masks, they're telling you to wear T-shirts, which again, cotton is ineffective against many particles compared to, of course, other items that work more effectively. But of course, as we've been saying from the very beginning of this, the CDC cannot be trusted here. Dr. Fauci also has been raising skepticism against the vaccine, which Donald Trump sees as the miracle cure for all of this. He's mobilizing the military to implement the vaccines all throughout the country. And now Dr. Fauci is even coming out against the other narrative and saying that now staying closed for too long could cause irreparable damage. And gee, you don't say so. As of course, the mental health crisis is being exacerbated as the California trauma doctor is now claiming that more people have tried to kill themselves in the past 4 weeks during this lockdown than the course of a normal year. He is even going as far as saying that deaths by suicide have outstriped the coronavirus toll. And if that's not the truth already, it might be with the financial ramifications and implications that are happening because of this lockdown that many government officials are using as a huge ploy to gobble up more power for themselves. And the CDC continues their criminal and idiotic statements. Is not just what the CDC is doing. They are also mixing up testing data with people that have tested positive for this and people that have antibodies, which of course totally destroys the data, combining the test, which inhibits the agency's ability to discern what is actually happening. And even the director of the Harvard Global Health Institute said, quote, "You've got to be kidding me. How could the CDC make that kind of mistake? This is a mess." Yeah, and it is. And we're not getting the data, we're not getting the information. And even when we do, it is being compiled wrong by the government agency that, of course, YouTube says you have to trust and repeat and regurgitate everything they say, and you may not go against. And again, just look at all these conflicting statements. One news article says that this sickness could burn out naturally, while other mainstream media news organizations are saying that it may never go away. Some people are saying vaccines will totally work, while other people are saying they will fail because this will always be a constant threat. Other medical professionals are saying survivors could suffer severe health effects for the rest of their lives, while others are saying you will get it and not even know it. Some data suggesting the majority of people have had this in certain populations without any symptoms. And according to this article, testing is revealing that stunning asymptomatic coronavirus spread among bust and homeless people was recorded. Meanwhile, other tests are showing positive for fruit and sheep. Who do we believe during these times of COVID toes, mistruths, conflicting statements, level profiteering, and evisceration of your civil rights? Who do we believe? Well, definitely not the government and its experts. The bigger truth here that's hidden away from you, that's censored from you, that of course is downranked in the algorithm so people don't hear it, is that you and only you are responsible for yourself. There's no one else that's going to be helping you. There's no one else that's going to watch your back except you. And this is why we've been preaching radical self-reliance from the very beginning of this. Trust me, the situation will get far more confusing from here. There's going to be more mistruths. There's going to be more people profiting off of this thing. And the best way that you cannot be a victim here is by empowering yourself, your health, your immune system, your financial freedom, and liberty. That's what we preach. If you agreed with it, share this video with your friends and family members. That is more important than ever, especially since how heavily hit we are getting from the YouTube censorship. I love you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.